Hello, my name is Ramy Hassan Hamoudi, and I am a Palestinian refugee who was born and lived all his life in Lebanon, Beirut. I was born in Hamra Main Street in a building called the Shaibar Building, and then my parents, when I was 10 months old, moved from Hamra to Kuraitim neighborhood in Ras Beirut, where we lived from 1973 till 1996. And during that period of time, we witnessed all the Lebanese civil war, including the Israeli invasion to Lebanon in 1993. Why I'm telling this story? I am telling this story because in 2016, I applied between 2015 and 2016. I applied to the U.S. Embassy on a marriage visa, K1 visa, and me and my fiancée Kathleen Manley, we were like following all the instructions. That includes finishing all the paperwork and filing the papers for the application, etc., etc., etc. And I had an interview in the U.S. Embassy in Ankara, in Lebanon. Uh, then what happened later on? Once I was asleep because I work. I take a night shift because I'm a night auditor in a hotel. I received a call from the US Embassy in Lebanon that says my visa is ready, and they asked me to submit my passport in the embassy in order to finish all the process. So I went to the embassy as I was instructed, and I gave them my passport, and they gave me a card, and they were like, they told me like, you can come back in 10 days to retrieve your passport with a visa on it. Like that's what they said. So after 10 days, when I went to retrieve my passport, they gave me back my passport, and they told me that your visa has been delayed for some administrative process. And then they kept me waiting for like 9 months. And during this time, it was a real hard time because I didn't know what to do in my life, whether I quit my job, whether not. And my fiancée came to Lebanon twice, and she kept sending emails to the embassy, and she asked for a meeting with the consulate. And she used to call, and they used to ignore our phone calls once they hear my name and my case number. Then I got a job opportunity in Nigeria, in Lagos, Victoria Island, as a restaurant manager. I went for the opening, and when I was in Nigeria, the US Embassy called me, and they said that there's a letter for me, and I have to pick up this letter from the gate. So I told them that I'm not in Lebanon, and I won't be back before 2 months. They said, okay, you should send like your brother or your sister or your mother or your father to pick up the letter for you. And so it happened. I sent my brother Ryan, and he picked up the letter to me, and I was shocked and surprised when I knew that it says that, Dear Mr. Hamoudi, you are ineligible for the immigration visa to the United States of America under the section 212A3B. And I was surprised, what is this code? What does it talk about? What is section 212A3B? So when I went on Google and we asked my attorney, I learned that it says that I'm a terrorist and I am affiliated with a terrorist group, and I have the potential to fund a terrorism action. And I can't understand how a man with the minimum wage of $700 can fund a terrorism action. It was like a random accusation. So we tried to fire it, and we called my attorney. Of course, my fiance did this in California, and my attorney called several times to the embassy, and they refused to cooperate. And now, like, I'm filing my papers for a refugee resettlement through the United Nations in order to find a solution for my situation, because as a refugee, I cannot take it anymore here in Lebanon. I owe this country a lot. I love the country. I love the people, but the economy is not helping. Now I am a man who is living with $300 salary a month. I'm eating one meal in 24 hours. Of course, I'm not the only one who's suffering in this situation in the country, but I've decided to apply for a refugee resettlement, and that's why I'm shooting this video in order to tell my story with the US Embassy. And here I am in Kuraitim neighborhood in Ras Beirut. This is where I lived like 50% of my life since 1973 till 1996. And in this building here, you saw it in the video earlier, uh, our neighbors in the building was the Canadian ambassador, and by the way, it was more than one ambassador because like two or three ambassadors for Canada came and lived in this building here, and Japanese ambassador also. In the third floor, the Japanese ambassador lived here. Sorry, I cannot recall their names now because like I'm talking about things from the 70s and 80s. Now I'm 49 years old. So the Canadian ambassador lived in the fifth floor in this building, and the Japanese ambassador lived in the third floor, plus other Lebanese businessmen and families. And then in 1996, we moved to Hamra area. This is where we settled finally, and we're living there. And thank you for listening to my story, which is like which really gave me a hard time when I was trying to leave the country and live in another place, start a new life, start a new career. At least I had the opportunity to go to the college and finish my education, and it was taken from me. Thank you.